Um, I'm
Great.
going to do both because it would be nice to put it on video as well. Some people don't always just listen, they like to view and listen. I've got Dog of Man on the line.
Hi, Julian.
What up?
Welcome. It's really great to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too.
You too.
And oh, well, that's lucky. So is it? So it's two of you, is it?
There are four of us.
Come on, start from the beginning.
There are four of us, but two of us aren't here. But the other two of us that aren't not here are here.
Not here are here.
Yeah.
Okay, that's too much for my sensitive brain. What does that
We
mean?
can fact check it later.
Oh,
So
okay.
the opposite of the amount of people that are here aren't here.
Okay, fair enough. Anyway, you're here. So we've got Mike and
Jack.
Jack. So Mike and Jack, tell us about Dog of Man. How long, when, where, what is it all about? Because as you know, I'm a bit obsessed with your last track actually.
Oh, thanks so much.
A bit obsessed
Yeah,
with
we
it.
started playing together like we were 13 in various bands in Stroud. We're doing an interview from Stroud now, and we started Dog of Man in Brighton. What, 5-6 years ago?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
We were both playing in a band called Buffalo's Wake. It's a gypsy punk band, and we were living together, so we had a bit of opportunity to
Yeah, turn your
start
mic up.
jamming and trying out new stuff. What was that?
I was saying turn your mic up a little bit more.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have a mic.
We'll just shout into the laptop.
Shout into the
Shout.
laptop, yeah.
Shout into it, and everything's fine. Yes, carry on.
We we wanted to mess around and do something new and try and do something that wasn't like a specific genre necessarily, but obviously also having been influenced by lots of eclectic things, we wanted to feel as though we could bring a lot of different sounds that we liked into music and not really have any rules.
I think it started when you said when I moved down, shall I bring the old electric accordion I've got in the attic? It sounds like a broken Nintendo.
That's right. Yeah.
I said, yeah, bring that down. And I just picked up the drums. I was just starting to learn drums when we started the first jams. And when our guitar player was living with us at the time as well. He said when he came home and we were having the first ever jam we were doing, he tried to put his key in the door, the front door of the house, and he couldn't because the door was shaking in the frame because all the bass that was coming out of this accordion was shaking the house. So and he came downstairs and got stuck in. That was where it started, like maybe 6 years ago, I think.
Wow.
We didn't think the neighbors were complaining, but actually we couldn't hear them complaining.
Yeah.
So they were banging on the door for ages and ages. And actually, eventually, one time we did stop for a second and we heard like somebody weeping outside. And I went to the door and they were like, "We've been here for ages."
Yeah, that lady, she'd come around I think 3 times previous to complain that we've been so loud that we hadn't heard her banging on the door. We used to get sound complaints from the other side of the road, like halfway down the street. So
Yeah.
I think
That's
those
how
original,
loud you were.
well, yeah, the original jams were very loud and distorted and messy sounding. So
Yeah.
we feel a bit bad, I suppose, for all the neighbours that we had to that had to put up with us around that time. But
Yeah. But you can't be immediately good.
yeah, and we use practice studios now, so the neighbours are a bit happier with that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Because the next thing, you know what the next thing would have been? That you're so loud that you didn't hear the burglars coming in.
Mm.
Yeah, we had nothing good to steal, so they wouldn't have stuck around long.
To be honest, that house was very much like a kind of open door thing. I remember there was a guy, I went downstairs and there was just some guy sleeping on the couch, and I assumed that somebody else had invited him to stay, but actually having asked around everywhere, nobody knew who he was, and he was living in our house for about a week.
It was quite common to come back and find new people in the house because we were touring quite a lot with our other bands when we started this project. So we'd like fill the house with people from Gumtree just to rent out the rooms. We go off on tour around Europe for a bit and come back and sort of have to deal with whatever state the house was in. But also there was a lot of lodges and stuff around, wasn't there?
My room got rented out to people that booked it for an orgy.
Oh yeah, you found that massive bag of
Found a big
condoms.
bag of condoms on the door.
Guys, we're live. I can't edit that bit out for the underage listening.
Sorry,
Oh my goodness.
it's an acronym.
Reel it in, reel it in. Okay, so although, maybe afterwards you can tell me more about that story. Dog of Man. I always ask bands because I always find it very, very interesting how and what make them choose their names. So why Dog of Man?
Well, we were going to be Sea of Cum, but we thought Dog of Man might be a bit more palatable for most people.
Well, you can reel it in. Really? Okay.
We had a saying.
And who was the man?
We had a saying where if you played if it was a really difficult show,
with bad sound and
with
stuff.
bad sound and like it was really like none of the loading times were right and everything was late, and it's a really tough audience or something, that it was a dog of a show, and so we thought we're dogs of
Yeah, what is a dog of a man? It's sort of like the worst sort of human being, I suppose. It's an idea of like, yeah, that kind of bestial kind of nature inside people. Sort of comment on that.
David Firth also did a short cartoon called Dog of Man, which was also, we're big fans of David Firth.
Yeah,
and
well,
Lucas Toy Box.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot to be a fan of there, that's for sure. So when you've been together 5-6 years, so you're a band of 4. How does that work? I always like to nitpick a little bit, and it will be kind of a little bit so that we can play the music and enjoy it as well. But who writes? Who doesn't? Who plays along? Is it collaborative? Is there democracy, or is there a dictator?
There's constant power struggle all the time. Everyone's trying to scrabble over each other.
Yeah. No, it's like
anarchy.
It's like knives and teeth.
Yeah, you got to watch your back in this band. Seriously.
Yeah, honestly, if you blink for 1 second, that your ideas will be taken out
to
the back and
recycled,
summarily
stolen,
executed.
Yeah, shaved off solo projects. It's, terrible. No, honestly, we all write together. We
do write together.
Like most of the songs come out when we're all in a room together, and we'll start with someone has like a piece of an idea, and it gets fleshed out between all of us. And
very rarely is an entire song brought to the room or wherever we are. We'll often just have a motif or an idea and then actually bounce that off of everybody, and then kind of most of the song happens on its own. It's quite easy, and then we'll get to the middle 8 and then we'll spend weeks doing that,
trying to figure out how to wrong foot people and put extra genres where they shouldn't be and stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, Mike writes most of the lyrics are huge, definitely lion's share, like 95%, I reckon. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. So and this is another thing. So now that you record and practice, rehearse in a studio, when you set a time and date, who is always early and who is always late?
What was that?
When you're setting a time and a date for rehearsals, who's early, who's late?
Yeah.
It's not that bad with this band. Like, we've had other bands where people have been, like whole days late for practice, but yeah, this band is not too bad with people turning up on time, I don't think.
We generally tend to Sam will be late more than, but often actually I'm usually later than Sam. Yeah. I'm the latest.
Okay.
I am often late.
Radio at the moment, or internet radio at the moment, the facial expressions going on the Zoom are ones that you want to go back and look at, because Mike and Jack are going, oh, who's late? The eyebrows are going out. They're looking up to the sky. So that's good. That's good. And Mike, well played that you actually admit that you are at times late.
I am late, but every single time it's never my fault, even though it's every single time. There's always another reason. Sometimes you have to stop and get beer, or
first shop's out of beer. There's a couple of other shops.
Wind was blowing me, and it made me slower than I originally anticipated.
Like an interesting bee you have to look out for a bit.
Sometimes there are bees
stuck in chewing gum.
Yeah.
I think that warrants a song, really, like things that happen on the way to rehearsal.
Yeah.
That
like having an existential crisis.
That would fit nicely with the rest of the songs. Mostly seem to be about existential crisis.
Mostly that, yeah.
So, speaking of songs, your recent track, Turpentine, how did that come together? And, why am I obsessed with it?
I think you came with that riff. I think you came to practice with that main drop, and then it was one of those beautiful songs that you played that, and then we pretty much just played the song. Like no one even talked to each other or like started writing. We just started playing, and the song is not very different to how it came out that first time. Just completely organically and telepathically, it just happened. It was great.
Yeah, it is one that hasn't actually been through a massive amount of revision. There have been some little tweaks here and there, but the words, the song is inspired by a friend of mine called Dan Weir, who he said he described anxiety as being in a burning building and someone's asking you what you want to eat, and I thought that was pretty cool, and I agreed with him. So I thought, yes, I'll expand on that and see where that takes me. And but also that it's sort of meant to be a celebration of those feelings, and also that and maybe a way out of it as well. Like that sometimes you just need to move on. The actual the use of turpentine is basically to wash things completely clean, and that's the notion of the song itself is to really kind of be able to move on from the past, because I think a lot of anxiety generally tends to stem from what you expect is going to happen based on your prior experience. So advice wise, it's maybe advice to myself and also to others that feel similarly, is to maybe just give yourself an opportunity to wash things and move on.
That's kind of what the video is about as well, isn't it? And it sort of ties in with the sort of concept of the album as well, a little bit of everything is easy. You're sort of trying to find a way out of anxiety and things that you're finding difficult. And like you were saying, that you're in the burning building and someone's asking you what you want to eat, is kind of that idea of like they're just ignoring all the problems that are going on, which is kind of relevant today. There's so much going on. And you sort of want an escape. Yeah, like focus on something else or find some way to deal with that. And like everything is easy really is a kind of sarcastic comment on that. And the video is this cathartic ritual that we put together, which kind of feels much like a live show. If you go to a punk show or some hectic show, it's such a cathartic thing, and everyone's sort of getting through all their the difficult things they have to deal with together in a really positive way. And the video ties in with that kind of feeling, I think.
Yeah, I'd say it does. And also, will we get a little bit of sense of that in the gig? Because there is a gig this weekend, isn't there, people?
There's two, yeah. We're doing Stroud tomorrow and we're doing Brighton on Saturday.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the Brighton one is what we really wanted to kind of plug today, seeing as we are YGN Radio Brighton. So all the people listening who are in Brighton, where do they have to come to and when?
It's at the Gladstone. It's a free show. It's fancy dress, so everyone needs to be dressed up and colourful. There's actually a prize for the fanciest dressed audience member. We've got an art print by Fidget, who's it's going to be presented to someone in the craziest get up. I think it starts at like 8 o'clock. We've got Foxy Acetylene, who are an amazing band from Bristol. They're coming down. They're playing
thrash.
Yeah, a bit of punk thrash. And then I'm not sure. I think it all finishes maybe about 11 o'clock, so we'll probably be on 9:30, 10, something like that. But it's completely free in the Gladstone.
And fancy dress.
Yeah. The theme is crash and burn, color explosion.
Crash and burn, color explosion. So I can't come as my Jedi then.
I'm sure you could find something.
If you said Jed tie dye.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Maybe I should just leave.
I actually will consider that. However, it will be hard to tie dye the robe that I have. That will be.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, I probably wouldn't tie dye a Jedi robe. You'd lose all of your sort of illustrious
midichlorians.
Yeah. Yeah, the midichlorians.
Just put a few bandages on. You can go with the crash and burn aspect. Just come as a broken Jedi. That sort of fits the theme.
All right. Okay. Lovely. So that's sorted. Look out for the crash and burn Jedi. Dog of Man, thank you for coming on the show. I love
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure. I love the spontaneity of things, and it worked. I can't believe it worked. My technical abilities are reaching their peak. Just saying. It didn't work a few times before when I tried, but it has worked today. So I'm really, really proud of me. So I'm going to tap me on
Well
the
done.
Yes.
We're
We're
proud of you
also
too.
proud of you.
Well done.
Thanks. So I'm going to play your track next. Would you like to introduce it?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mike Milner from Dog of Man, and this song is called Turpentine.
That's not the song. This
Hey!
There we go.
And now you're in burning building. They're asking you what you would like to eat.